So for today's project, we have this 1-inch round piece of guy wire anchor. If you don't know what a guy wire anchor, that's what these guys are. They get driven into the ground and then you attach a wire that goes up to the top of the telephone pole. I ended up with a couple of these by chance, and I want to try to make some stuff out of them. This is some of the largest round stock that I have on hand right now, and I am curious what it does. Regardless of what it's made out of, it should be suitable for my purposes today, which is for a set hammer. If you watch my trowel video, you'll see there was a couple shots where I was using some improvised tooling to try to flatten and level out one side of a fuller line. The tooling I had wasn't quite right, and that kind of accuracy is difficult to do with a hammer efficiently. At least it is for me. I'm going to endeavor to try to give you some more accurate measurements for the stuff I'm making. This is almost 7 inches. It's a little bit over, but this end is flame cut, and we're going to lose a little bit. I'm going to upset one end because I would like to have a 1-inch square. So we're going to try to turn this 1-inch round, upset it to 1-inch square, and then I want to put a octagonal handle on it, and then we'll draw this down to about 3/4 of an inch on the other end. Ooh, now that I'm saying that out loud, I'm realizing exactly how much work this is going to be, especially for an unknown steel that I don't know how well it's going to forge. I think this is probably too long for what I'm intending to try to do today, so I will probably have a little bit left over to trim off and use to experiment with some heat treating. I am pretty sure this is something in the neighborhood of either a 1045 or like a 4140. Probably leaning a little bit closer to 1045. Either way, I'm just completely guessing. But the sparklers that it put off did seem to indicate it's some kind of medium carbon-ish. But ultimately, we're just going to have to experiment and find out. Like I said, it doesn't really matter what it's actually made out of. For a set hammer, it doesn't really need to be particularly hard or particularly durable, just because of the way that it gets used. So, let's get a fire started and we'll just forge around and find out. Oops. Accidentally twisted it. This is a really hard bar. But that's got it. Close enough. So we've got our little drawn out piece of mystery steel out of the guy wire anchor, and I'm going to get it hot. Well, I'm going to get my oil hot, and then I'm going to get this hot, and I'm going to quench it and see what happens. Wish me luck. You want to make sure and get your oil hot enough your wife wants to take a bath in it. Anything less than that's going to be too cold. So I already know I can file it normalized, but it's still pretty tough. It doesn't really file very well, so I'm fairly certain this is going to be an oil quenching steel. I bring it up kind of slowly, and I'm going to aim for basically the lowest quenching temperature that I can get. For what this tool is, that should be fine. Some steels, they will harden at a lower temperature than what their ideal is, but they won't get to maximum hardness unless you quench them at their max temperature. So your steel can harden at a lower temperature than its ideal critical. It's just we're not worried about this being particularly hard. We just want it to be tough so it doesn't deform. It should be okay just as long as it gets any level of hardness to it. So if it gets hard enough that I can't file it, then we are golden. All right, here goes nothing. Ah, interesting. So it is variable hardness. This side that was down in the forge, in the bottom, that is skating. That is like a piece of rock. But over here I'm getting just a tiny bit of a file damage. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get it a little bit hotter and just quench it again. Okay, that time I think I was probably too hot, but being colorblind, it's kind of difficult to tell. I thought I was just barely a little bit warmer than last time. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's hard. Alright, I moved some stuff around. I want to see if I can break this and see what it does, or what it looks like. It will not break. Huh. Got nothing. And that was not being gentle either. Oh, there it goes. Ooh. It's actually not a bad looking grain structure in there. Man, that is some tough stuff. I'm really curious to know what this stuff actually is. But I think it's safe to say that it is not hard like glass hard. So this will probably be the perfect material for making set hammers and flatters and stuff out of. Which is good to know. Next I get to find out whether or not it forge welds. But that might be giving a little bit too much away. It's about as flat as I think I can get it by hand. Oh, and considering that pretty much everything in my shop needs to be dual purpose, I am rounding off two corners, or two sides, so I've got a rounded corner and a sharp corner to work with. And there we have one set hammer. I dressed the top of the file, and I took the same corner off of the top that I did on the bottom, so I know which side's the rounded corner and which side's the sharp corner. Both are useful, as are the half round, half sharp. I'm sure I'll find a use for them at some point, but it would have come in useful for my shovel, but I'm sure it will come in useful many times in the future. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.